2010 was the birth of Hero Factory, and with it came what I would say are some of the best villain designs that we ever got out of the entirety of this theme's existence. Each character has such a distinct personality. They've got some really in-your-face and unique aesthetics, and just a bunch of brilliant pieces as well. These sets rocked, but could they be built better? Well, let's take a look at some community creations that reimagine these characters and rebuild them in some new, creative ways. Get excited, because we've got some really impressive stuff coming your way. Are you ready? Let's check it out. Kicking off with a really, really good one. This is Von Nebula, and it's reimagined by Kalahiki Art. Here's a little side-by-side with the mock versus the original set, and immediately, you can see the inclusion of a ton of these glow-in-the-dark blue armor pieces. You saw these types of pieces in a few different Mari-era Bionicle sets, like Nocturne, for example. But dude, this was such a nice inclusion for Von Nebula. Yeah, as much as I love the original set, the color scheme is a touch boring, I guess you could say. It's like 90% black with a little bit of blue, and I guess the orange eyes as well. I guess there's a couple silver pieces as well, but you barely notice those. I don't know, I don't hate that color scheme, but comparing it to this, yeah, I think I like this a little bit more. Because Von Nebula, he's got black hole powers, and he certainly has things tied into space. I mean, look at his name. It's literally Nebula. So, these kind of mystical looking shades of blue mixed in with the black, it feels like you're looking up into space and you're seeing the stars and the nebulas and the galaxies. So, I think that feels like a very fitting thing for his whole nebula and space motif. It's the perfect color scheme to represent that. I also appreciate how much more of a beefcake he is. Those gigantic muscles and a much more lean and sturdy looking design. Big thighs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's been working out. This new silhouette, the way he's posed in some of these images, he really does look like the perfect main villain for Hero Factory. I don't know, man, this is truly exceptional. Also, you might have to look a little closer for this one, but you can see a few wires coming out of the torso, and in the very center there, you can see a few little pistons and other mechanical details. The little subtle hints that this guy is still a robot, yeah, those are lovely inclusions. Honestly, man, this might be my favorite revamp of Von Nebula that I've ever seen. This is exceptional. Up next is Stereod, and they have their own take on Meltdown. Now, yeah, I really like the original set. It's probably one of my favorites of the bunch. The cool inclusion of some barrels of toxic waste on the back, the big old acid whip on the other hand. He's awesome. But a name like Meltdown, to me, it implies some kind of nuclear reaction or accident. It implies a sense of chaos. And I don't know, the original set seems really in control of their radioactive or nuclear powers. But this revamp really does live up to the name Meltdown, turning all of his limbs into trans green limbs, and making it look like his old body has been mutated. That just feels so fitting. Maybe, you could alter his backstory a little bit and they could be a worker inside a power plant, a nuclear power plant. And then, some type of accident occurred and it ended up mutating him into what he is today. And now, he seeks a life of crime. It's very comic book inspired, but I kind of like that, and that sort of thing works for Hero Factory, Yeah, I don't know, these changes are just so appropriate for him. I love it. Something else I love, a very appropriate change, are the bigger barrels on his back. These new ones are actually jumper bug containment cylinders that we see on the backs of various Invasion from Below mechs, like this one. I don't know, I think it's a really nice idea in this context, and it looks really good. Also, gunmetal, yellow and trans green for the color scheme. It's a pretty sick combination. I think it's great. Bionicles is the next builder we'll be spotlighting, and this is their revamp of Corroder. So yeah, this one's a bit more of a subtle upgrade. No major redesign this time, but I like that. And I especially like the very clever part usage that we see here on the shoulders. This is actually Gorast's mask, the one that came on. You guessed it, Makuta Gorast. I mean, yeah, you know, the color scheme here kind of matches Corroder perfectly. And the kind of bug-like appearance of this mask, it's got that little, I don't know, proboscis on the front of the mouth, that little spike. But here that just becomes some, I don't know, cute little spike on the end. I think it looks good. It helps add a nice villainous flair to the character. Some punk rock vibes, if you will. I also enjoy seeing this blaster on his back. That's a nice new addition. I don't know, these changes are really good. They do make him look awesome. And they certainly keep a lot more of the original look, which is also nice. Over to Awesomeness Born and their recreation of Rotor. Here we go, a little cheeky side by side with the original and the revamp. And yeah, the most noticeable part here has to be the mask. I really like how this has been designed. We got the mask of Pahatu Fantoka, which of course on the set had that removable blue visor. So if you take that off, then you got the top of the face being exposed. Well, why not put Motorin Nuparu's mask, the one that came in this set, and make some kind of sick combination of masks? I mean, that's wonderful. You know, it makes you think, what other orange masks could you partner with Pahatu Fantoka's mask? The fact that this is a mask that has a big old open section on the top, it leaves room for so much customization. I think that's pretty cool. And I gotta say, I really like this upgraded blaster. The original one was a little bit more minimal, but you know, adding things like a big old blue wire, some caution label stickers, a scope, and much more, well, it does look pretty great. And also look at how these rotors coming out of his back have been altered. The original set used some black Brutaka blades, which was great, but I quite like the choice to use some of these mast pieces that you see on a lot of LEGO pirate ships. Isn't that cool? Look, this is a very different look for the character, but it certainly captures the same aesthetic and the same feeling, the same kind of energy, if you will. This is delightful. Ooh, but this one's a little bit different, but I think it's cool. This is Anti-Rotor, and it's built by Masterika. So yeah, I guess this is technically a revamp of Vapor. Well, I guess it's not, this is an original character, but, you know, for the purposes of this video, let's just say that this is Vapor. Vapor and Rotor. They both share the exact same mask. And I always thought that the two of them were like brothers or something. But you know, what if it was something a little bit different? What if Vapor was like a clone of Rotor? Oh, you know, or maybe they could be brothers, whatever. But Vapor, he grew resentful of his brother, so he ended up changing his name to the Anti-Rotor. He was so sick of his clones or his brother's success that he made it his personal mission to destroy his brother. Hey, yeah, that's a cool concept. And then it also opens up doors for characters in the Hero Factory universe that aren't villains and aren't heroes. They're somewhere in between. They've got their own personal agenda. You know, if you're someone that likes storytelling with your mocks, if you like writing stories for your characters, all that kind of stuff, then hey, there's some good possibilities right here. Hopefully it gives you some inspiration, my little fan fiction that I'm writing here. Anyway, yeah, this mock is really cool. I quite like this trans-red sword that's coming out of their arm. This appears to be the wing piece that comes on the wonderful breakout set, Thornrax. But this one has been dyed red. Yeah, dyeing pieces is quite an interesting idea. I've never tried it myself, but it certainly sounds like fun. And, you know, looking at something like this, you can get some pretty good results with it. And then something else that's cool about this, that wing piece naturally has a kind of like hexagonal pattern on it. So it partners perfectly with some of these hexagonal trans-red pieces that are coming out of this character's back. I like how those two things remain consistent. They've got similar textures, you know? And also, yeah, a bulkier silhouette for Vapor, or, you know, Anti-Rotor. Yeah, it works. Up next, we have the mighty Thunder, and this revamp was built by Regigic. Yeah, again, going for a bit more of a modest approach on this revamp. But there's a few special things here that I greatly enjoy. First off, the inclusion of some of these yellow caution stripe tiles. They give a nice pop of yellow, as does that hose piece coming out of the back. Because you see, the original set for Thunder, it had some of these caution stripe stickers or other yellow accents, but they were all stickers. Now, perhaps you're one of those LEGO fans that just doesn't like stickers. And I get it, they can be very difficult to apply, it can just be a nightmare sometimes. Or hey, maybe you bought Thunder second hand, and all of your stickers are severely scratched and damaged. They just don't look good. Well, this revamp offers a nice alternative to stickers, but it maintains that same look and feel. Isn't that wonderful? Because of course, if you're not familiar with those, whenever LEGO does make those kind of caution stripe stickers, most times they're printed. But heck, even if you just place a few yellow pieces on there, it'll probably accomplish the same thing. I think it looks really good. We also have a nice upgraded blaster, which is a lot bigger and beefier, very impressive looking. Yeah, this whole mock is beefier and bigger. I think it works for him quite well. It's a good thing to see. And finally, the final 1.0 villain revamp that we've got for today, it's Explode, and this was built by Elistar. Yeah, I always thought that the spiky pieces on Explode's shoulders were designed to mimic the look of an explosion. The way that those spikes flare out, and the colour of them, it certainly has that kind of energy to it. And yeah, that's a good way to represent his name, I suppose, or at least his motif or his kind of quirk, you know? He's an explosives guy. But I like this interpretation of their name. It's as if they're a volcano that's exploding or erupting. Because yeah, I feel like this back design does kind of look like a volcano of sorts. I dig it. And I also dig these little teeny tiny spikes on his shoulders. Those spikes are still there. You still get some of the essence of the original, but you know, it's toned down a little bit. That's fun. Oh yeah, and nice part use on this torso, using that raw jaw mask piece in the very center there. Isn't that cool? If you're unfamiliar with this piece, it comes of course on the set raw jaw. It's used on his face. But I don't know, man. It looks pretty brilliant as armor. That's some good thinking. Yeah, in general, I think this more well-armored approach for Explode is magnificent. I really enjoy this. And I really enjoy all of the mocks that we saw today. Lovely to see some revamps of some beautiful, beautiful Hero Factory characters. And I hope you enjoyed looking at them too. But now, it's time for you to go out and build your own Hero Factory creations to celebrate HF Feb. In the month of February, we build heroes, or we build villains. Go out and do that. Build yourself a hero, or be really inspired by this video and go build some villains. And when you post them online, be sure to use the hashtag HFFeb. And hey, don't forget to submit it to the submission email for the show. Be sure to include that hashtag in the email as well. If you submit it to that email, I'll do my best to feature it in some of the upcoming content for this month. Oh, and also in the links below, you can see that submission email, and you can see links to all the builders that I spoke about today. Go and give them a like, give them a follow, and let them know what you think of their incredible stuff. Thanks for watching though, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.